Ochoyo sampo pa gyu trashi pa tuche tempe chinle rolor zambe ze parche palde lame shabla solwade Oma Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Sanekar Uta Varda Nishri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Hum Oma Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha San Uta Varda Nishri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Hum Oma Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha San Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Dagi Chetsun Lama Tuje Che Nyamda Dala Tuje Siksu So Gebe Shesan Dala Tendo So Oyon Sungi Nawa Tsedo So Tsechi Nyingne Solwa Debe Tse Dechen Korlo Viso Lekshune Yela Sambe Dede Malupa Gemel Hungi Drubra Chingi Lo Tsoni Sodan Diktun Shabetse Dungi Namke Yinso Lekshune Lapchen Tsoni Yonso Zoba Dan Chera Nyetun Chanwara Chingi Lo Jancho Pargi Ninsen Tukun Tu Nyu Peme Siudru Lekshune Chancho drube gegen kunshishi tungen de la drubra chingilo dagi lona chela chokpa dan chemin samjur ngembashi chedan tumbe dede malupa bemel hungi drubra chingilo dorna tengne tsera tamcheda techi pardo negav tamche tu rese kyamne lama keleme Tukje chingi dala siksu so gongyab drewe nyamda dachala jetsun lame tuje rab gongne kudan sungi nawa dralme tu nyamsu nyongwe kesan topra sho kewa kundu yanda lama da drame chiki pela longche chin sada lamgi yunter dorje changi kopa Nyur toba shoya Pakyuke kudham dagi Long Pakyuke asundang daki Pakyuke tudang dagin Yi teyerme chiktu chingiolo Pakyuke kudang dagilu Pakyuke sundan daginga Pakyuke tudang dagiyi Töyerme çiktu çingilo Makyuke kudang dagilu Makyuke sundan daginga Makyuke tudang dagiyi Töyerme çiktu çingilo Om Muni Muni Munye Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Sangye chedan tsogi chonam la chancho pardo dani kyapsu chin dagi jinso gibe sonam ki drola pinchira sangye drupar shua sangye chedan tsogi chonam la chancho pardo dani kyapsu chin dagi jinso gibe sonam ki pinchira sangye drupar shua sangye chedan tsogi chonam la jancho pardo dani kyapsu chi dagi jinso gibe sonam ki drola pinchira sangye druparashu.
In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment. With the practice of generosity and the other perfections, may I obtain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the practice of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Namo yal haye ke dan ludan wejin ke drupon dadami ke namdan drobo kunge dranam chitsampa tamche ke tu dagi cheten.
Good morning. I wanted to be here today together to do three things, actually. Of course, there's also the pleasure of being here together, but there are two things in particular that I wanted to share with you, and also have a moment where we could say goodbye, given that I'm leaving for 21 days. It's not like I'm, going for who knows how long, but 3 weeks. And this is connected to something that I wanted to talk about. No matter how strange it might seem, one of the greatest challenges that we have in our lives, on a personal level, on a familial level, and also on a collective level, as a group, as a sangha, as a society, as it's mankind, if we want to get there, but starts from the individual level. One of the greatest challenges we have is living in a healthy way. It's the challenge that starts from the teachings of Buddha himself. When we say, may all beings have happiness as its causes, may all beings be free from suffering and its causes. So we start from the principle that having causes, we want to have the causes for happiness and we want to abandon the causes that create suffering. It seems obvious. Nobody wants to suffer. Everyone wants to be well. Seems crazy actually, but very, very often it's hard for us to uphold really what is good for us, beneficial, and abandon what is bad for us. And I was thinking a lot about this some time ago, and something that I realized in my reflections is that we're made up of habits. And once something is a habit, even if it's a habit that is detrimental, it's very, very difficult to abandon it. Sorry, sorry, a little bit of inner distraction because Maitre's outside. But so even if the habit is negative, it's really difficult to abandon it, to change it, because we're made up of habits. Our being is made of habits. And something else that comes together is that we're not solitary beings. We are beings that live in company. We base a part of our identity based on the context in which we find ourselves, and in connection with others that we interact with. We're not solitary beings. We live in a group, and so my habits influence your habits. Your habits influence mine. Mine influence yours. And this is something that's happening all the time in all of us. So on one side, it's difficult for us to change our own habits. On the other hand, I use the wrong term, but it gives the idea well enough. We are, let's say, quote unquote, victims. Not really victims, but we're influenced by the context in which we find ourselves. And more, I see that we have, within the tradition of Buddhism, there are marvelous methods, incredible methods, and a world view that is especially coherent. A few days ago, I was talking to a group of doctors. So things for me that are simple, primary, but I saw a kind of aha moment in their faces. But we're talking about very basic, simple things. So I realize more and more to really to use the Dharma deeply and uphold the Dharma for future generations, because it's our job is to leave the culture that we found, leave it better. And the way that we live our lives will influence what others others find after us, independently of whether someone has children or not. If you grow up in a social context, you inherit a culture, a worldview, many aspects. So what we live influences others and will influence future generations. So if we're not able to change certain things in our lifestyle, it'll be difficult for us to practice the Dharma well. Because a spiritual path requires, maybe requires is not the right word, but let's say it's upheld. by an inner process of analysis, of research, of awareness, of observation of oneself. And this requires a certain inner silence. For example, there are three conditions are given to be able to practice the Dharma. The first condition is having, materially speaking, the minimum necessary. So you need food, lodging, and a body that is relatively healthy. The second condition is having someone who guides us correctly. And the third condition is having the desire to practice. And the first condition we have. Materially, we're incredibly rich. We have everything, even more. We're not lacking anything. But I have this feeling that often, how can I say, when someone doesn't have material, when someone doesn't have the material needs met because they don't have they wouldn't have the inner space because there of course there are exceptions, but normally there wouldn't be that inner space because they're focused on and their priority is protecting themselves from the heat and cold and looking for food, etc. But it seems like we're getting we're getting to the same result through the same through the extreme. We have a context where I mean I hear people say I don't have time. Well, actually, it's not true that there isn't time. But what we mean to say is there's no space. We don't have space to deepen, to observe, to reflect, to dream. Because we're taken by the extreme of having too much or having too much to do, too much to digest, too much to manage. I mean, we have a quantity of information to manage that is unsustainable. So this first step that we need to do here really is the step of living in a material context where that material context is a support and it's not something that uses up our energy because a great part of our life is taken up by our material wealth or working to produce to have, but not only. There's a level of stress and tension that is overwhelming. And I realize that I am part of this system, and I really put a lot of effort to invert this tendency. I saw the process within myself of of going into abstinence. And I'm running, running, running without going anywhere once one stops. But at this, one has the feeling that one's doing the wrong thing. Uh, but we need to stop. We need to calm down because if we don't stop, we won't be able to have a deeper view, allow ourselves to look far and dream. When someone is strongly taken by having to resolve something in the immediate time, then when there's no more space for anything else, one imagines that the next day is the same as today, if not worse, and doesn't have this ability to dream. And we constantly, a phrase I hear, we hear often that we want everything from yesterday. We need to run. I mean, this means that we're taken by all this and we don't allow ourselves to go beyond. I know I want to change that aspect way far there in my horizon. So one of the points I wanted to bring today, this a request that I'm making to everyone, So as a basis to be able to dream, as a basis to be able to practice the Dharma profoundly, so that first condition really is connected to having inner space, based obviously on this material support. As we see, extremes are not good. I see that many of us don't have this inner space to change our behavior, to be able to dream, a dream, whether it's related to ourselves or to society, or we have the ability to cultivate love, gratitude, kindness, concentration. We're not able to do that because we don't have that first condition, which is about having the inner space. And that first space in the teachings is strongly linked to how we relate to the material world. But often in the teachings, it's connected to not having resources. But if you look in Buddha's teachings, he explains that when the resources are too rich, too many, also there one is not able to connect to the spiritual path, as is said in the god realms or the semi-god realms. They spend their time using up the material wealth that they have, and they don't have the space to look inside themselves. And I have this strong feeling that many of us are in that state. So we need to allow ourselves to stop, to look beyond, and do this. I see that I had in my life, I had a very beautiful period of my life, where I was dedicating my time to my studies that lasted about 12 years, and then another in India, and then 10 years where I extended my studies in Tibet. And one of the most beautiful things that I remember in that whole period is this ability to have a daily life that gradually allows me to deepen my studies. When I was thinking, I was thinking about the times I was studying, and I thought, for example, I was talking with Gelong Tara, who went now back to the monastery in India. He said the things in the monastery have really changed, because I thought to myself, what would it have been like when I was studying if I had had internet? Because Gelong Tara was saying that many people, they'd go to sessions, the teachings, debate, but there's an important part of the day that one spends looking at one's phone. And what's the real problem there? I mean, there are many. First of all, we don't give ourselves time to create, to decompress, to digest, because learning is also a creative process. We take various pieces of information, we bring them together. We take the time to digest, decompress, and it looks like we're not doing anything, but this comprehension that is happening is a creative process, and this creative process happens when we're not apparently doing anything. So I made my own choice. It's slow, because personally I'm someone, when I take important decisions, I'm very, very slow. I've always been like this. But but then I'm firm in my decision, and it's also slow, actually, in activating this choice. And so I was looking at this time where we're running and running. Of course, there are emergencies where it's necessary to run after something, but in our daily life, where we're just putting one block on top of the other, one step in front of the other in our daily lives. And I when I was in Brazil last time. I realized this. When was it? It was in January. It was very strong, this experience. When I was there in January, and for own reasons related to health, I'm fine. I'm fine, but I've been having allergy problems and maybe some kind of chronic inflammation that related to my digestive system. And I went to a doctor, and he did three exams. He knows me quite well. There's friendship, there's respect between us. And he said, Lama, I don't know how to say this, but I don't know how you feel, but your body is showing that it's stressed, and not just a little bit. I said, oh, actually, observing myself, I always had this aspect. I don't have much inner dialogue, let's say, where I need, or feeling anxiety, feeling bad. But physically, I could feel pressure, an inner speed. And I started to observe. I started to ask myself where it came from. And I saw that it wasn't just me. It was very widespread around me. I thought, well, either I change the way I live, but I can't expect that everyone else, I can't expect people to do it when I don't do it myself. And in my personal case, I saw that even if mentally and emotionally I'm fine, I need to take care of my body. And so those causes, those aspects that need space, they need that space. And all given all of this, I decided I need to really take care of these allergies, need to really try to do something that will help. And based on that, I took two decisions. Now I have this program. So all the appointments I took, that I had said that I said, okay, up to February, because I decided to give more priority to our daily lives and stability, instead of running after things. I see that the period that we're all living, that many of us, not maybe not, if not all of us, is to actually go in the opposite direction, to do things more slowly, with more stability, and not run without understanding where we're going. A few days ago, I was reading in England, and I think in Italy it's the same, that about 74% of the adult population says that it's hard to go forward, either because of anxiety or depression. That is no joke. So there is a basis that, I mean, if we don't take care of our physical and mental health on a primary level, then we won't have the basis to really deepen the practice of dharma. So really, to uphold the dharma for ourselves and for future generations, we need to create a healthy basis. And so I made a choice, and also talking to those who advise me, doctors and masters, because I am following a treatment, this inflammations, etc., which is better, but it's not resolved. I decided to do a treatment of panchakarma within the Ayurvedic system. It's not a relaxing vacation. I mean, it's actually quite heavy. It's a treatment that lasts at least 21 days. So I'm leaving tomorrow to do this treatment. This is why I'm going on this trip. And this brings us to a second point, which is what I wanted to share with you today. The first point is it's important for all of us to live a healthy life on a physical level, on a mental level, on a relationship level, mental level, a material level, economic level. It's fundamental, all of this, because we have substituted the healthy life with producing, with doing, with consuming, having pleasures, information, everything. That's it. But we need to invert this dynamic, starting from ourselves, because it depends on each and every one of us. On the other hand, I'm very happy here in Albagnano in particular, seeing something. This fact that along our path, our natural path, on an individual level, on a collective level, there's a passage that starts from a human connection. A spiritual practice really starts, as it said in the teachings, Lam Kitsawa, it says the root of the path is relying correctly on the spiritual guide. In other words, we start our practice when we correct a deep relationship of trust and faith with a spiritual guide, someone who will guide us. The next is taking refuge, but the first step is really taking refuge. So first I start with a connection, a human connection, and that connection allows me to see the real refuge is the dharma, that I need to walk for myself. No one can walk for me. I can be friends with all the Buddhas, all the masters, but if I don't walk myself, no one can do them for me. So this maturity actually comes after this relying correctly on the spiritual guide, and then afterwards, then we take refuge in the Sangha. Has to do with to be able to do this path. I mean, I can't do it by myself. There's my inner path that no one can do for me, but at a certain point, there's this moment of sharing, this aspect of belonging. That's also very important, where starting from a human connection that keeps alive that whole path, then we connect with a higher objective that we share. It reminded me when Martin Luther King, in this very famous speech, the I Have a Dream speech, one of the most powerful thing is our dreams. But if there's something that's dangerous, it is stopping to dream, not stopping to have objectives, not being able to see beyond one's own needs, real or fictitious, immediate ones. But it's very, very important to be able to dream. And Buddha gave us this dream. Lama Ganchen brought it to us in every moment. And in this dream, I remember one day when I was a child, and I was in the car in Brazil. I don't know where we were going, but I think I had just seen probably the movie Aladdin, and against, there's that thing between children. Oh, if you met, we were in the car, a couple people. If you found the genie and the lamp, what would you ask? You have 3 desires. What would you ask? What would you ask? What would you want? There was this game among children, and I remember, well, it's stupid to have 3 desires. You just need one. I have only one dream, one desire, which was, may all beings reach enlightenment. Once you have that, then what else do you need? What do you want? Everything else comes as a consequence. Okay, if we have three desires, what are we going to do? Divide the beings in three parts? I don't, into three categories. But in the end, what dream did Buddha bring? He said it's possible, which seems most difficult. It can be translated into a prayer. It's not even right to say it's called prayer. But this aspirational prayer, we say, may all beings be happy. May all beings reach happiness and its causes. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. And there are others that follow. But what's the final objective? It's the one we all have, which is translated into the word nirvana, which means the state beyond suffering. But how can we reach a state beyond suffering, the so-called Buddhahood? May all beings have happiness and its causes. We cultivate causes for happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes by eliminating the causes that create suffering. So if we were to ask ourselves just in a few words, why are we here? Why was this center created? Why are we here? What's the deeper objective? It's not to have a big center. Managing a center is not something I wish on anyone, and it's certainly not for making money. I've already seen people try to make a profit on a Dharma center. Never works, really. Why are we here? Our ultimate goal is that may all beings have happiness and its causes. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. Lama Michel Rinpoche translated this many times using a more modern terminology, saying world peace. May every being live in peace. The inner peace is the most solid foundation for the world peace. Now it's up to you. Speak with peace, touch with peace, etc. Rinpoche explained it to us in so many ways and so often. But the question I ask you is, do we believe in this dream or not? Because what brings us together is either we belong because maybe there's someone who unites us. We all love one being, one person, and we are united around this person, which is it's wonderful to have a special love towards one's own master, connect with that. But at a certain point, we need to go beyond, which doesn't mean that that's not right, but it's complemented. And what really unites us is the objective of our guru. And our objective here mainly is really, may every being be happy and have happiness and be free and have the and have the causes of happiness and be free from suffering and be free from the causes of suffering. And this happens on all levels: mental, physical, material, emotional. We need to accept our needs, other people's needs, and going in this direction. But it's important for us to remember why we're here. And one of the things that's the most important for me is, I see a world where our priority very often as an objective, the dream that's given and that's followed in most of the cases, is this dream of reaching nirvana through an extreme individualism and an extreme materialism. Nirvana understood as a happiness, where what's important is what you do, how much money you make, how many pleasures you have, how much how well accomplished you are, and how well seen you are. We have this strange idea of extreme individualism. So we have this idea that if I do things the way I want it, when I want it, how I want it, then I'll be happy. And I remember Lama Michel Rinpoche saying we need to find sometimes joking a little bit, you say, "Oh, great that you've been able to get to the moon, but what did you bring back from the moon? Some rocks, some sand." I don't see that at the end of the day that human beings have brought concrete solutions to make people happier and suffer less. And there's a marvelous part of society that has been developed, but there's something seriously lacking. And the symptoms speak for themselves of anxiety, depression, stress, chronic sicknesses, tumors, heart problems, high blood pressure. There are serious symptoms out there. These are symptoms. If it were one person, you say, okay, this person didn't have a healthy lifestyle. But if we see that it's so widespread, strong, widespread symptoms, it shows that there's something that we're all doing that's not working. And when we're inside the problem, we might see ourselves as a victim. So nobody does anything because we see ourselves as victims. Instead, we can change. We can live in a context where we respect each other, where we have a common dream that transcends the I and the my and the daily survival. Where, yeah, okay, money is there, but it's not my primary objective. It doesn't not everything revolves around that. And for that, to see that this higher objective, and we can call it in many ways nirvana or world peace or the happiness of all beings, we can call it in many different ways. We see that it's possible only through the effort and dedication of each and every being who makes up this society, this group. Very often Rinpoche himself would say, when he began here at Albagnano, I remember even before he used to repeat, he made understand that it's not enough for everyone to be closed up in your own house, to do something for your own path. We need to be together. We need to share. That each one, and there are different realities, but people have their own houses, they have their own things, but this sense of belonging is very important, and we need the Sangha. And what creates this is having a common objective, having an identity that unites us. And the common objective, unfortunately, the word peace has been used up. Because when a word is used with a different meaning, so often then that word loses its strength of meaning. Like stopping a war doesn't mean reaching peace. In a family, in a relationship between two people, stopping stopping an argument, stopping to fight, it doesn't mean creating harmony. They're two totally different things. One thing is, let the one thing is not having any formal conflict. Something else is constructing peace, which is something totally different. So, do we believe in peace? Do we believe that we can make it? And within this, there are many, many other small dreams to be able to uphold that. For example, within this, I have the dream to be able to live in a context that helps to uphold and develop a process of love and altruism. This is something, there's something that I see possible. Maybe not right away, but it's possible to create a context where the priority, the main priority, is 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 where inner qualities are given greater value than to what I possess and what I have. I mean, live in a context where we know how to respect each other, respect our differences in a real way, and help each other, accompany each other, accept each other, respecting our own limits, of course, but respecting the length of our own legs. I don't want to bring a naive kind of view, but utopias are fundamental. If we don't have a view that is long-term, if we don't allow ourselves to dream about something, then we'll end up trapped in resolving problems and experiencing pleasures in a kind of stressed, comfortable survival. A symbol for me in these times is a treadmill, where we're running without going anywhere. How can we reach a real state of peace on a personal level, on a social level? So it's on a greater, a more widespread level. It's only possible if all those who make up that society have reached that state of peace themselves. And so we need to cultivate our own inner space. And first of all, to be able to do that, we need to live in a healthy way, because with an unhealthy body, it's difficult. When the body is not in a state of peace, then one has less concentration. One is physically stressed. Chronic pain, for example. How does one feel? Relaxed? Not at all. So we need to take care of our health. Last Wednesday at the Kumpen, thinking about all this, I realized that there are 4 basic functions in life that were never really a problem. It's almost as if they're not important anymore, but they're fundamental. I'm sorry if I say like this, to be able to practice the Dharma well. There's maybe those who have gotten to a deeper level, and it can be upheld, but to be able to get there, we need to be able to sleep. Because when one doesn't sleep, then there's no space. You need to eat and sleep. You need to be able to go to the bathroom and move. Right? What happens if you don't do one of these 4 things well? You don't feel well. And one doesn't feel well, what's your priority? Just stopping that malaise. Nothing else matters. And they're very basic things. Sleeping should be the easiest of things. I don't know, talking to your parents, your grandparents, if at that when if they had such a problem of insomnia, I don't think so. Digestion, this, eating well or not, moving, having a body that's at healthy enough. If we don't give priority to these to this basis, it's difficult to cultivate anything that goes beyond. That's why the the practice of the Dharma requires to be able to have a deep practice, to be able to sit and meditate and keep one's mind at peace and reflect on very complex and deep subjects like the correct view of reality, to be able to open up your heart towards others and to develop bodhicitta. First of all, you need space. And this space requires a minimum amount of well-being. For example, if those minimum, if those basic needs are not covered, you can't see others. It's lacking. So if I'm not sleeping well, or I've developed a deep level of altruism and compassion, that's another subject. But for most of us, if we don't eat well, if we don't sleep well, if my digestive system is not working well, my body's all blocked, my priority is my own basic well-being, and I'm not able to go beyond. I'm generalizing when I say, and of course there are exceptions. So once I'm able to take care of myself, then I can, and I'm able to love myself, then I'm able then to love others. So in this process of getting to world peace, we start with our inner peace. And for inner peace, we need to have a healthy body. It's not for nothing that he invested a tremendous amount in Tibetan medicine and the importance of taking care of our own health. The first teachings that Lama Ganchen gave in 1987, he talked about coffee. And what he saw, even at that time, he said, "You're stressed. You're all, you're complaining. You're complaining that you're stressed out and that you're living a stressed out life, but you continue to consume substances that stress you even more." So this is an important. And together with this, there are human interactions that are extremely important, fundamental. It's not for nothing that one of the worst things that someone can do, these five sangi nile, these five worst actions, let's say, is killing one's own parents, mother, father, being violent with awareness towards a spiritually developed person. And one of these actions is creating division in the Sangha. These five heinous actions. Why is it so heavy to generate division in the spiritual community? Because the Sangha is so important. If the Sangha wasn't so important, then it could be like, okay, it's not a positive act, but like many other negative acts. No, but because we need this union, we need to help each other uphold this common dream. So, so a tremendous importance is given to the Sangha. In tantric vows, for example, there are 14 vows. So, because 14 is, and one of the most important of these 14 in the Vajrayana, the tantric vows, is to not criticize, uh, not criticize a Vajra brother or sister. So this harmony among us is fundamental. And what are we saying on the other side? Harmony is important, and we need to accept each other. We need to share and uphold each other. So to reach inner peace, to be able to reach peace on on the societal level or world level, I need to take care of myself, and I need to find a state of harmony in the relationships around me, to cultivate healthy relationships also with the environment in which I live. Have a healthy relationship with material things like money, for example. Know how to distinguish between what I need and what I want, and not be a slave of money. So if we asked ourselves really what we want to realize a dream. This dream to be at peace with ourselves, peace with others, to be able to live in a society that is peaceful on all levels. Someone might ask if, really, will it ever be possible? I don't look. When we debate, for example, in each monastery, at the end of the debate, there's a different tradition that we have a kind of dedication where I studied at the monastery of Serame at the end of every debate, these collective debates. So we would recite this auspicious verse, which means being a being, it can reach enlightenment. Yes. Does everyone have this ability to reach enlightenment? Yes. So what happens is when we look on a general level and we look at the world, we say, oh, better not even try. Let's drop it. But if we look at each individual and we see that each one has the real possibility, the real concrete potential to reach a state of peace, to live in a state of peace, a state of peace of body and mind. This brings us some hope. And this should make us understand that we can do it. And I can do it not just for myself, but I can do it on behalf of everyone else. Because if I don't change non-virtuous aspects, unhealthy aspects of my way of living, then I will constantly influence a bad habit of myself, but also a bad habit in society, because my actions influence other people's actions, and then it becomes easier and easier to act in that certain way. So when I begin a healthy path, when I begin a virtuous, coherent, altruistic, wise path, a real peace, naturally, I am part of a change of collective dynamics. And this is where there's a real hope. If someone says to me, are you optimistic or pessimistic? Actually, I'm very optimistic, because seeing myself, I see that it's possible. Seeing others around me, I've never met anyone where I've said, no, nothing to do here. To to be sincere, there are moments where I there have been, to be very sincere, there were people that I have met where it's been very, very, very difficult. And I've thought here the only chance is for this person to die and then be reborn. A kind of reset that could help. But for my own amazement, I saw, for example, that this one and then someone else too was actually able to make changes I would have never expected. So from a very unhealthy habit, this person began, took up very healthy habits. I mean, we can all do it. We can all do it. But this all depends on where we put our energy and what direction we walk. Something now, first of all, I'd like to thank you all for being here. I don't mean here today, now. I mean to be here together along this path. A dream becomes a strong dream when it's shared. The more people who share that dream, the stronger and real it becomes. Buddha gave us a dream represented by all these images. Many believed in this dream, our lineage masters who believed in this, but we need to believe in it too. And the path is a path of reflecting, analyzing, expressing one's worries, one's own perplexities, and getting to to getting to the point where one can identify one's own real possible dream. Because if we don't do our own process of not getting towards that dream, then we end up trapped by our own weaknesses. Okay, this is not going the way I wanted it to go, and here and there. We're trapped in the small things. I need to do this, I need to do that. I'm tired here, I'm tired there. And we're trapped by our own daily living. And as Atisha said, and I like it the way it at night, during the day we're distracted, at night we're sleeping. Life goes by quickly. So at the very least, I want to die a better person than the one who was born, and make sure that at the end of the day, the interactions that I had with the interactions I had with others, that brings to a greater positive transformation within. I want to leave a healthy heritage to the world, and what I really leave to everyone is my actions, my thoughts, my healthy conduct. So that's why I think this process is very important, this sharing a dream. I invite all of you to experience this process on an individual level, and share this, because there's the dream and then how to reach that dream, and we need to connect our daily life with this dream. And what's beautiful, when we're able to maintain contact with this deeper dream, every small thing takes on an enormous power and meaning. When we're not able to connect our daily life with something more important, even marvelous things are without meaning. Is that clear? So it's really, really important to connect, to wake up and give meaning to what we do. It's something that we need more and more to deepen and share, because many of us, we already have it. But when the dream is not only mine but is shared, and my dream helps clarify your dream, and we have a one common dream, that has a marvelous, marvelous power that we need to little by little, we need to move in that direction. Because the life of someone, it doesn't last long. How long does a person live? 100 years? And that would be a long life. 120? That's too long. Even 100, that's already a lot. But if I'm able really to have a dream, a beautiful dream, and I'm able to share that dream, how long should that dream last? Thousands and thousands of years. Here we are following the dream that that Buddha left us. Buddha who lived 80 years, but his dream exists. So it's important for us to connect with something, nourish this dream. It's something that's going to keep moving, going forward. This is what I wanted mostly to share with you today. Because we need to live every moment of the day in a real way. I mean, I'm here today now, and I don't know about tomorrow, and not because I'm going on a trip. I mean, every day we just don't have the certainty of what's going to happen today, tomorrow. So in this moment, I wanted to share this with you. I think it's very important. And on a very practical level, I like I I say that we need to look at our priorities and not what we have to do, but how we are, how we need to be able become to become love, to become generosity, to become concentration, etc. And to be able to reach that objective, we need this space to be able to digest things, to understand things, so that creative moment, and based also on taking care of our bodies. And then we make this dream our own. And by dream, I don't mean something that you can't realize. We've never, as human beings, we've never been able to do anything without first having thought of it, having dreamt of it, dreamed of it. And this is the third of the Four Noble Truths. This is the truth of cessation. We need to understand the direction where we're going. It's possible. It's possible. We can do it. So this also, we'll see at the center, there are many dynamics related to group activities. And I wanted um, to integrate this so that we could clarify more and more what our collective dream is. I can tell you about mine, but there's an enormous difference between something that we've heard um, and then something that not only that we've said, but something that we've actually elaborated for ourselves. It just is an enormous difference. And that's it. I'd like to also say goodbye quickly. So that means 3 weeks is nothing. It's going to go by very, very quickly. But it's something that that I like to take advantage of this moment um, and say goodbye to everyone. I like to thank you, really, not just what you do now, but what you do always. For me personally, what makes what I do meaningful is knowing that I bring benefits to others. I mean, this is all meaningful. It's otherwise it'd be very boring for me to just repeat again and again something. But the real thing is not about understanding. It's the faith, it's the trust, it's the love, it's the walking together, it's the putting into practice. And, we like words, many words, but it goes all beyond that. So that's more or less it. I don't want to say much more. I don't want to just get lost in other words. So here's my request to may everyone, each and every person with sincerity, look inside and have the courage to take up the challenge to love himself or herself. And it's not easy. I don't know if you've ever had this feeling that it's easier to do something for someone else than for yourself. But if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of others. Sometimes taking care of someone else is like running away from oneself. Mm. So it's a lot better to take care of someone else, to run away from yourself by taking care of someone else. But here there's a challenge, and this challenge is cultivating what is beneficial and abandoning what is detrimental. This is the challenge, even when it seems impossible. It is possible. We can all do it one little step after the next. And what's beautiful in our when we're able in our own way, in our intimate way, when we're able to take a step towards a more virtuous, healthy, peaceful life, we're helping others do the same without having to say anything. Nobody needs to even see it. We are helping others. This is have total belief in this, and we can spend hours explaining why. But let's remember that the steps that we take don't have to do only with ourselves, but have to do with everyone. So let's pick up this challenge. Let's take up this challenge to do good for ourselves and abandon what is detrimental, and know how to give value to what is beneficial, and know how to abandon what is bad for us. We give more value to being more mature and go beyond the I don't like. The question is it good for me or not? Not do I like it or not? And then little by little, we can construct a state of well-being that is stronger and stronger. Gradually, we go to a deeper well-being, which is inner peace. And there are here many marvelous meditations and other practices, but we need a solid foundation for all of this. So it's time for our dedications, and then if you'd like, we can say it's a moment to say goodbye and offer a kata for those who like. Also, a special thanks to everyone who keeps the center alive and standing. Lama Michel Rinpoche repeated so many times that, that we really need a place for pilgrimage. We need a holy place. I mean, this is why he created Al Bagnano. And thanks to Rinpoche, we're here. But thanks to all of us, we're still here. And so I deeply thank the effort, the dedication, the care on every level from everyone.
Lame kutse rapten chi namkar chinle chochur ge padang losan tempe drume sasumgi Drove munsela tatu ne gyur che kewa kuntu yanda lama dang dralme cheki pela long che ching sadan lamge yente rabzone dorje change kopa nyur tobo shu nimo dele tsendele nime kuyan dele kshin Ninsen taktu delek pe kuncho sumke chingi kuncho sumke ngodrubu sol kuncho sumke trashishon.
At dawn or at dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to obtain all realizations and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness.
Dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of our life various signs of auspiciousness. De sol a sol, à noite ou ao meio-dia, possam as três joias conceder-nos suas bênçãos. Possam as três joias ajudar-nos a alcançar todas as realizações. Possam as três joias espalhar muitos sinais auspiciosos no caminho de nossas vidas. Al amanecer o al anochecer, por la noche o durante el día, puedan las tres joyas concedernos sus bendiciones, puedan ayudarnos a obtener todas las realizaciones y colmer el sendero de nuestras vidas con muchos signos de buenos auspicios. Puis les trois joyaux nous dispensent toutes les réalisations. Puis les trois joyaux remplissent notre vie de signes de bon augure. Serve tercenceresi drime kempe wampo jampeliang dupung malu jom se sangweda kanchen kepe zogen zongkapa lo san trakpe shabla solwade.
Thank you everyone.